The emergency room at St. Mary's Hospital was unusually quiet. It was 11:47 p.m. Most of the patients had already gone home. Only a few nurses remained on duty. Among them was Emma Carter, a 28-year-old emergency nurse. She had worked the night shift for nearly 6 years. Everyone respected her. She was calm under pressure, kind to every patient, and known for saving lives. But no one knew. Emma carried a secret she had hidden for years. As she checked the last patient's chart, the automatic emergency doors suddenly burst open. 2 men rushed inside, pushing a stretcher. The patient was covered in blood. He wore a black hoodie. His face was hidden behind a medical oxygen mask. One of the men shouted, "Help him! He's dying!" Emma immediately called the trauma team. "Operating room 1! Move!" Doctors and nurses surrounded the stretcher. His heartbeat was weak. Blood pressure was falling. He had been shot. 3 bullets. 1 in the shoulder. 2 in the abdomen. Emma worked quickly. She cut away his clothes. Then she suddenly froze. On his chest was a tattoo. A black wolf. Emma's face turned pale. She knew that symbol. She had seen it before. 10 years ago. The memory hit her like lightning. A dark warehouse. Gunshots. People screaming. And that same black wolf tattoo. Emma whispered to herself, "It can't be." Dr. Harris looked at her. "Emma! Stay focused!" She quickly continued the treatment. Minutes later, the patient's heartbeat became stable. Everyone sighed with relief. But before the man lost consciousness, he grabbed Emma's wrist tightly. His eyes slowly opened. He whispered only 4 words. "They know you're alive." Emma's heart stopped. "What did you say?" But the patient passed out. At that exact moment, every computer screen inside the emergency room suddenly turned black. Then red letters appeared. "We are coming." The lights began flickering. Outside, 3 black SUVs stopped in front of the hospital. Men dressed in black stepped out. Each carried a hidden weapon. Inside the hospital, Emma looked out the window. She whispered, "They found me." Emma stood frozen. Outside the emergency entrance, 3 black SUVs waited with their engines running. The men inside didn't rush. They simply watched the hospital, as if they knew exactly who they were waiting for. Dr. Harris noticed Emma staring through the glass. "Emma, what's wrong?" She forced a smile. "Nothing." But her hands were shaking. Suddenly, every phone inside the emergency department stopped working. The hospital Wi-Fi disappeared. The security cameras went offline. Then an alarm echoed through the building. Lockdown activated. Steel security doors slammed shut across every hallway. Patients looked around in confusion. Nurses began whispering. One doctor shouted, "Who activated the lockdown?" No one answered. Emma looked toward the unconscious patient. His bed was empty. She ran into the hallway. The patient had disappeared. Only drops of blood remained on the floor. They formed a trail toward the basement. Emma followed the blood carefully. Each step made her heart beat faster. The hospital basement was old, dark, silent. She had never been there before. The blood trail stopped outside a rusty metal door. A warning sign read, "Authorized personnel only." Emma slowly pushed the door open. Inside, she found dozens of old patient files scattered across the floor. Some were burned. Some were covered in dust. Then she noticed a photograph. It showed 5 nurses standing together. Emma recognized 4 of them. But the 5th nurse, her face had been scratched out with a knife. On the back of the photo were 6 words. "She betrayed us. Find Emma first." Emma's breathing became heavy. Someone knew her name. Suddenly, a loud metallic sound echoed behind her. Clang! The basement door slammed shut. Emma ran toward it. Locked. She banged on the door. Help! No answer. Only silence. Then, a slow voice echoed from the darkness. Emma! You should have stayed dead. She turned around. A hooded figure stepped out of the shadows. His face couldn't be seen. He held a small flash drive in his hand. This contains the truth about St. Mary's Hospital. But if they get it first, everyone dies. Before Emma could reach him, a single gunshot echoed through the basement. The hooded man collapsed. The flash drive slid across the floor, stopping right at Emma's feet. She looked up. A red laser sight was pointed directly at her chest. Someone was aiming from the darkness. Emma slowly picked up the flash drive. Then she heard a cold voice. Run, if you want to live. Emma grabbed the flash drive. Without looking back, she ran through the dark basement. Behind her, footsteps echoed. Slow. Heavy. Getting closer every second. She reached the metal door and pulled with all her strength. It finally opened. Emma rushed back into the hallway. The hospital looked completely different. The lights were flashing red. Doctors were running in panic. Patients were crying. Security guards were locking every exit. Dr. Harris saw Emma. Where have you been? Before Emma could answer, a nurse rushed toward them. Doctor! ICU room 12. The patient is awake. Emma's heart raced. The mysterious man had survived. She ran upstairs. When she entered room 12, the bed was empty again. Only one message was written on the white hospital sheet. Don't trust Dr. Harris. Emma froze. No. She slowly turned around. Dr. Harris was standing behind her. He smiled. A cold, strange smile she had never seen before. Emma, you weren't supposed to find the basement. He quietly locked the room door. Click. Emma stepped backward. What are you talking about? Dr. Harris removed his ID badge. Then he reached into his pocket. He pulled out the same black wolf badge she had seen on the injured man's chest. Emma's eyes widened. It was you. For 10 years, Dr. Harris said calmly. I've been waiting for someone to find those files. He took one step closer. You were never just a nurse. You were the only witness who survived. Memories rushed back into Emma's mind. 10 years earlier, she had been a student nurse. One night, she accidentally witnessed a secret meeting in the hospital basement. Doctors, criminals, and millions of dollars changing hands. She had escaped. But everyone believed she had died in the fire that night. Dr. Harris looked at her. You should have stayed dead. Suddenly, a loud explosion shook the hospital. Boom! The windows shattered. Fire alarms began ringing. Smoke filled the hallway. Outside, police cars surrounded the building. Someone had anonymously sent them the evidence. Emma looked at the flash drive in her hand. She finally understood. This tiny drive contained everything. Every crime. Every secret. Every name. Dr. Harris lunged toward her. Emma dodged him and ran into the corridor. The hospital had become a battlefield. Patients were being evacuated. Police officers stormed inside. Behind Emma, Dr. Harris shouted, Catch her! 3 armed men in hospital uniforms started chasing her. Emma had only one chance. She had to reach the police before the criminals reached her. Sirens echoed across St. Mary's Hospital. Police officers rushed through every entrance. Patients were evacuated as doctors shouted directions. Smoke filled the hallways. Emma ran as fast as she could, still holding the flash drive. Behind her, Dr. Harris and 3 armed men were getting closer. Don't let her escape, he shouted. Emma turned into the pediatric wing. The hallway was empty. She quickly hid inside a storage room. Her heart pounded so loudly she thought they could hear it. Outside, footsteps stopped. One of the men whispered, She's somewhere nearby. Emma held her breath. Then her phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number appeared. Go to operating room 7. Someone is waiting for you. Emma had no idea who sent it. But she had no other choice. She quietly slipped out through the back door of the storage room and ran toward operating room 7. When she opened the door, she froze. The mysterious injured patient was standing there. His arm was bandaged, but he was alive. My name is Michael, he said. I'm an undercover detective. Emma stared at him in disbelief. The Black Wolf Gang has controlled this hospital for years. We've been collecting evidence. He looked at the flash drive in her hand. That's the final piece. Before Emma could respond, the operating room doors burst open. Dr. Harris entered with a gun. It's over, he said coldly. Give me the drive. Michael stepped in front of Emma. No. Dr. Harris laughed. You think the police can stop us? Just then, the hospital speakers came alive. A voice echoed through every hallway. Attention all units. The hospital is surrounded. Drop your weapons immediately. Dr. Harris looked toward the ceiling. For the first time, he looked afraid. Suddenly, armed officers crashed through the operating room doors. Police! Don't move! One of Dr. Harris's men tried to fire. Within seconds, officers tackled him to the ground. Another criminal tried to escape through a side exit. But more officers were waiting outside. Dr. Harris slowly lowered his weapon. He looked at Emma. This isn't over. Emma held up the flash drive. It is now. Michael handed the evidence to the lead detective. Inside the drive were thousands of files. Illegal payments. Fake patient records. Hidden security videos. Names of every gang member. Within hours, the entire criminal network was exposed. 6 months later, St. Mary's Hospital reopened under new management. The corrupt staff were gone. Patients finally felt safe again. Emma was honored with a Bravery Award for helping expose one of the biggest criminal conspiracies in the city's history. One afternoon, as she began another shift, a young nurse smiled and asked, What made you become a nurse? Emma looked around the busy hospital. Then she smiled. Because saving one life can change thousands more. She put on her ID badge, walked toward the emergency room, and started helping her next patient. The nightmare was over, but her courage would never be forgotten. 6 months had passed since the fall of the Black Wolf organization. St. Mary's Hospital was peaceful again. Emma returned to her night shifts. Life finally felt normal. Or so she believed. One rainy night, at exactly 2:13 a.m., an elderly man walked into the emergency room. He wore an old black coat. His face was hidden beneath a hat. He calmly handed Emma a small sealed envelope. For you, he said. Emma looked confused. Who are you? The man smiled. You already know. Before she could ask another question, he disappeared into the crowded hallway. Emma quickly opened the envelope. Inside was an old photograph. It showed a group of nurses standing in front of St. Mary's Hospital. 25 years earlier. Emma looked closely. One face shocked her. A young woman who looked exactly like her mother. On the back of the photograph, someone had written, The truth never died. It was only waiting for you. Emma's hands began to shake. She immediately searched the hospital archives. Hours later, she discovered a hidden employee file. Her mother had once worked at St. Mary's Hospital, but her records had been erased. Emma opened another file. It revealed the unbelievable truth. The Black Wolf organization had not started with gangsters. It had started inside the hospital decades earlier through a group of corrupt executives who used the hospital to hide illegal activities. Her mother had secretly tried to expose them. She disappeared before she could finish. Emma whispered. So this is why they hunted me. Not because of what she knew, but because of what her mother had discovered years ago. Suddenly, her phone rang. It was Detective Michael. Emma, we've arrested the last remaining Black Wolf leader. It's finally over. Emma looked out the hospital window. The sun slowly rose over the city. For the first time in years, she felt completely free. She smiled and returned to the emergency room. A young child smiled at her and said, "Thank you, nurse." Emma smiled back. "No. Thank you for giving me a reason to keep fighting." The hospital doors opened. A new patient arrived. Emma put on her gloves. Another life needed saving. Another story was about to begin.